I'll admit this is a little bit of a vent, but I'm gonna try and keep vent tone out of it. So I just want to throw a very quick message out there. This is particularly applicable to turnkey rental property investors, because when you buy a turnkey rental property, it's advertised to you that you're getting this property in a certain condition with a certain performance. Everything should be how it's advertised. But this also really applies to any real estate investing strategy. My vent is, if you don't do proper due diligence in the buy-in process of getting this property and verifying that everything is as it should be, you can't be mad later if everything's gone wrong. And I'll say too, I'll caveat this with, I was one of those people. So I started buying turnkey rental properties in 2011. And when I first started buying those, I didn't know what I didn't know, just like everybody else. It's, real estate investing really is a learning experience, and you have to learn by goofing up. Like, none of us, we didn't learn it in school. We don't know how to be perfect at it. And when it comes to due diligence, it's a very tricky thing, and very, very few people really know how to do the level of due diligence that really needs to be done. So in turnkey rental property world, it's especially important which turnkey provider you work with, because the better the provider, the probably more you're going to get away with not doing quite as much due diligence. Like, if you work with a really bad provider, you need to be doing really thorough due diligence in order to catch what may be wrong with the property. You should also do that level of thorough due diligence with a really good provider, but since you probably don't know the most thorough level of due diligence, you're probably going to get away with, not being perfect at it. So an example that happened to me on one of my properties is that I think it was only maybe 3 years after I owned it. It was a turnkey rental property, so all of the major appliances should have been new or with a lot of life left, fully rehabbed property. All of a sudden, the heating unit goes out, like the full heating unit, $3,500 worth. And I thought, I'm supposed to buy this turnkey. I shouldn't have any major appliances going out this soon. Let me go back to my property inspection that was done on the property leading up to me purchasing it and see what they said about the heating unit. Well, as luck would have it, the property was inspected in July in Georgia. So what is July in Georgia like? It's very hot. So nobody turned the heater on. And basically that line said heating unit not inspected. Well, I don't care what. So now I know $3,500 later, I don't care what freaking month it is, turn the daggum thing on and show me pictures of it, because apparently that unit, according to the property manager who headed up the replacement of it, they said, like, this unit is old, like, it looks not great. So I should have gotten information about that in the property inspection. But just like everybody else, I didn't know what I didn't know. So it's fine. It's a learning experience. It was an expensive one, and it's really, I'm about a decade into turnkey rental properties at this point, and I feel like I just now really have a handle on, I've seen where everything can go wrong. So now I understand what things need to be checked. So going back to my vent. So it's not that you're expected to be perfect on your due diligence, but you can't be mad later if a whole heap load of stuff, let's say that a property inspection is done and a whole bunch of things need to get fixed, which is totally normal and fine, but you never follow up and make sure that those things got fixed. Versus if you say, I'm not closing on this property until I see verification that that repair was complete. Perfect, cool. But if you're just taking people's word for things and you're not doing due diligence at a very minimum, making sure that the property is coming to you in the condition that it was promised, I'm sorry, but you can't be mad. Like, that's the buyer's responsibility. And I'll throw one more story into this. There is a pretty infamous turnkey provider at this point. I'll leave names out of it because I'm not really into the rumor mills or gossip mill or whatever, and I don't have firsthand knowledge of what happened. But the claims are that a lot of buyers bought properties from this or through this particular turnkey provider, and they got these properties that were nothing like advertised. They were supposed to be turnkey rental properties. Some people ended up with total shacks. I heard one story, I don't know if it's true, but I heard one story that the person's had the house that they were closing on actually burnt down 3 days before closing, and they closed on it. Nobody knew, they never knew that this house had burned down. Now, that's a little bit on the extreme side as far as like what you should know to check. You shouldn't make sure, it's probably safe to say that you don't necessarily need to make sure your house is still standing the day before closing. That's kind of a freak event. But to the point, you know, all of these investors really got screwed because they ended up with these properties that were just in shambles. They weren't in turnkey condition. And once you own the turnkey rental property, it's on you. Like, you're the owner. It falls on you. But so I feel for all those investors, and I hate that that happened because it doesn't give turnkeys a good name at all. However, it wouldn't have happened, at least as far as I can understand. The buyers should have been verifying everything about those properties. If that property was a shack and you're supposed to be closing on a turnkey rental property, I put that on you because you should have had a property inspection done that would have told you, yes, this property is in turnkey condition. And that, you know, and then it goes back to during the crash days, so many international investors were buying from turnkey providers, and it'd be, you know, everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's such a scam because these people are selling properties because they know they're never going to come here and see them. Well, not the point. Those international investors, it's up to them to verify what they're getting. There's so little that you can't verify about a turnkey rental property before you buy it, you know. So I am always, most of the time, on the buyer side with turnkeys because I want to support the buyers. Like, those are the people who are important to me versus the sellers. I'm team turnkey buyer all day long. But if you as a buyer completely forgo doing proper levels of due diligence, again, you just can't be mad later. I was not happy about the $3,500 heating unit, but I realized that it sucked that the turnkey provider put that there, but ultimately that falls on me and it's my responsibility, and I should have made sure that heating unit was checked. So, love you buyers, truly, but if you don't do due diligence, it's on you, man.